Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to TravelJoy 101. This is an introductory look at the TravelJoy platform. My name is Caitlin. I'll be your host today. I'm joined in the audience by fellow Joy makers Heather and Cody, who will be helping to monitor the chat and answer questions in the questions tab. Now, the number one question we received during this webinar is, will there be a recording? The answer is yes. A recording will be emailed to you about 5 minutes after the webinar ends. If I go a bit too fast, you can rewatch the webinar as much as you want and pause at different sections to really take in what we go over today. Now, if you are new to the TravelJoy platform, I'd love to tell you a little bit about who we are. We are TravelJoy, the all-in-one platform for travel advisors. With our platform, you get a centralized digital workspace to manage clients, create itineraries, and handle payments all in one place. From our full CRM to our itinerary builder, you get access to tools that help you save time, stay organized, look professional, and simplify payments. Now you'll notice we do have the questions tab open, and questions are welcome. To help ensure your questions are seen, please be sure to add them to the questions tab located at the bottom right-hand corner underneath the chat box. We will try our best to get to these questions, and we will try to make sure they're answered before the end of the webinar. Questions asked within the chat box will likely not be answered, so please be sure to submit them in that questions tab. It's the little circle with the question mark on it. Now, we have a jam-packed webinar for you today. I'm going to walk you through how to set up your account, and then we'll build a trip and smart proposal together. Then we'll take you through building your first group and a group booking page, as well as how your clients can authorize and make payments. We'll also go through our help center and the many resources we've created to support you as you learn to use TravelJoy. Now, near the end of today's session, I will be providing you with a promo code for 50% off your first 2 months of a monthly membership, so please stay tuned. If you do need to leave a little early, the promo code section will be on the recording emailed to you after the webinar ends. As mentioned, this webinar will move quickly. Please note that you will receive a recording of this session by email after its conclusion. You'll be able to pause, rewind, and rewatch the recording to your heart's content. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to switch my screens here, but hello, everyone. I'm seeing everyone in the chat from all over. So glad to have you here. Go ahead and confirm that, get rid of that there. There we go, and hello. My face probably just got very big, so nice to have you here. I'm gonna switch my screens really quickly and get over to my TravelJoy account, so allow me just one moment to do so. I'm seeing a lot of Texas, a lot of Florida. That's exciting. There we go. All right, going to share my screen now. Some Georgia, hello, welcome. All right, folks. So let's start off with account setup. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is this little icon up here at the top right-hand corner of your screen. This is your getting started checklist. If you click on this icon, it's going to walk you through the steps of getting your account set up. Now, this is just a guideline. You don't have to follow it step by step. You can just take what suits your business, leave what doesn't. If you're not going to complete all of the steps on this checklist, that's okay. You can go ahead and hide the profile setup checklist at this link down here, but it's going to walk you through starting your free trial, setting up your brand, all of your agency logo, information, anything that you need displayed on your TravelJoy account. See the client experience, so what your client sees when they receive a form or a proposal from you, just to name a few examples. Import your clients to your client list, and most importantly, get paid by setting up your direct payment settings. Again, if you're not going to use this list, that's okay. You can just hide the profile setup checklist. Just use that little link there, and away it'll go. Next, we're going to talk about your terms and conditions templates. These are very, very important. So to update your terms and conditions templates that you can use across your TravelJoy account, you're going to head to the templates tab on the left-hand side, and then head down to terms and conditions. Now, as you can see, we have 3 default terms and conditions here, and if you click into them, there's not a whole lot to them. You likely have your own terms and conditions that you'd like displayed, so you can copy and paste those terms and conditions into any of these default templates and save your changes, or add an additional template at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Once saved, you'll be able to access your terms and conditions wherever you need to on the platform. The last thing we're going to talk about is security. Now, security is incredibly important because you have client information and your own information on your TravelJoy account, and you want to make sure that stays nice and safe. One of the best ways to do so is by using 2-step verification. Now, you're probably familiar with two-step verification. It's the process where you go to log into a account on your computer, and when you log in, you're prompted to get a code, usually from your mobile device, whether that be by text message, phone call, or using an authenticator app like Authy or Google Authenticator. Once you receive that code from your mobile device, you plug it into your computer, and then you are granted access to your accounts securely. You can set up two-step verification by heading to the Settings tab on the left-hand side and scroll down to Security. As you can see, mine is already enabled, but if you do need to enable yours, you'll see a blue button that says Enable Two-Step Verification here. And I'm going to share a guide in the chat that will go over that process step by step if you need any assistance along the way. Hi, everyone. We still have people coming in. So exciting. All right, and as a reminder, if you do have questions, we want to make sure those questions are answered. So please go ahead and ask them in the questions tab. It's just below the chat box. It's got that little circle with the question mark on it. We have got two other Joy makers here, happy to answer those questions for you. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. Now that we've gone over a few of the most important account setup stuff, let's go ahead and head into creating our very first trip. So to create a trip on TravelJoy, it's pretty easy. Head up to that pink Create button at the top left-hand corner of your screen and select Trip from the options that appear. Now, I want you to think of a trip as a file folder. Everything from start to finish for this client's particular trip is going to live in this file folder, this trip. You don't need to know a lot about the trip, like where your client is going even quite yet. All you need is your client's first name, last name, and email, and you can set the trip up. So for example, we can go ahead and select our primary traveler from our contact list, or if they're not already in our contact list, we can create new using that create new link and add them to our contact list using their first name, last name, and email. I happen to know my traveler, so I'm going to select her from the drop-down menu, Miss Jane Doe, and then we'll create the trip. That's all we need in order to move forward. Now that the trip is created, we can go ahead and start with gathering details from our client. So right now we're looking at the trip itself. We're looking at the trip message feed. But if I need to send a form to gather details from my client, I'm going to head up to the top right-hand corner of the screen to this blue Create button. Now from the menu that appears, I'm going to select Form, which is the second option. And this is the form selection process. So we're going to be able to select who on the trip we want to send this form to. Since Jane's the only traveler, she's the only one showing right now. But if you had multiple travelers, you'd be able to choose. Or you can allow one recipient to submit forms for other travelers by checking this checkbox here. So one-stop shop. You can select the form you'd like your traveler to fill out from your form templates, which are completely customizable underneath your templates tab. And then you can even select an email template to be sent as an email confirmation. So immediately after your client submits their form, this email will trigger. You don't have to put one in there, you just have the option to. Once you've selected the form of your choosing, I'm going to leave mine at Client Inquiry. We're going to use the Next Review email button at the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then we're going to be able to customize the email that accompanies the form as much as we want. So right now it's pulling in an email template from our Templates tab, and you can change that email template using this drop-down menu here. You can customize this message specifically for this client, change the subject, change anything in the message body, make sure your signature looks nice, and even add attachments in the bottom left. Once you're happy with your message, you can use the blue Send button, and away it goes. Now we know that was successful because we're taken right back to our trip message feed, where we can see the message that we just sent as well as a link to our form. All right, so what does this look like from Jane's end? I just so happen to have access to Jane's Gmail, so that's why I popped over here. And she has received the message requesting details. If she clicks on View Trip Form, this is what that form is going to look like. So I won't be filling out the entirety of this form, but again, these are completely customizable. You'll be able to change these questions, make them required if you want to within your Form Templates tab. I'm only going to fill out a few of these just for the sake of time, but I know Jane wants to go to Palm Springs, California, so I'm filling this out as if I am Jane. And I have a confession, I am Jane. I'm always Jane. Let's go ahead and send her to Palm Springs next month. Let's see, next month is right around the corner. We'll go ahead and say Friday the 21st, and she wants to come back on the 23rd, so a quick weekend trip. And then she'd fill out the form, so on and so forth. Once she's done filling out the form, she'll head up to the top right-hand corner of the screen and choose to submit the form. A thank you message will appear, which is completely customizable underneath your confirmations templates. So you can go ahead and update whatever you want this thank you message to say. And if we head back to our TravelJoy account and we refresh the page in any way, we'll receive a notification that Jane has completed her form, and we'll see that form within the trip message feed, along with a link to that completed form. But we can also always find that form underneath the trip files tab. And there it is. All right, so we've got a few more details about Jane's trip so we can finish building out that portion of it. So as you can see up here at the top right-hand corner, I do want to call your attention to the fact that the trip dates have updated automatically because that form was filled out, and the trip destination has been updated automatically as well. So really all I need to do is update the name of the trip and maybe pick out a nice photo. So I'm going to do that by heading to the three-dot menu just to the left of the blue Create button and selecting Edit Trip from the options that appear. I'm then going to choose a photo, something pretty. I can go ahead and use our search function to find a photo within our database, or I can upload my own. Just take in mind, we do recommend a certain sizing for your photos to avoid any kind of distortion or pixelation. I'm going to search for Palm Springs, California, and I'm going to get a lot of palm tree photos. I already know it. Some palm fronds here. Oh, there's so many beautiful ones up here. I haven't actually used this one before, so I'm going to use this beautiful golf course photo. And don't worry, I'm going to send Jane on a golf excursion, so it's going to be fitting. And then I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and change any other details that I need to. I'm going to add a little bit of spice to the name of the trip, so Jane Doe's awesome trip. And then you can update any of these details accordingly if needed. We can go ahead and select Save. And now that we've done that, the trip photo has updated, as well as the trip name here. All right, so we're on a roll. We've got Jane's form information all in the Files tab. We're ready to go. What's next? Well, we're probably going to create a proposal. So we have a couple different options here at TravelJoy. You can create a smart proposal, or you can create an itinerary. The difference is really that a smart proposal allows your client to approve the proposal and also features a few other bells and whistles like smart proposal options, which are pretty cool. To create a smart proposal on TravelJoy, we're going to head over to the blue Create button and select Smart Proposal from the options that appear. Once this loads, this is our Smart Proposal Builder. So everything is going to be edited on the right-hand side unless we're dragging and dropping items around. What we're looking at over here right now is our Settings tab. You can always get back to it by using the Settings button in the top right-hand corner of this title card. I'm going to give my proposal a name. We're going to go ahead and say Jane's Fun Desert Trip, exclamation points. Always have to remember there's no two S's in desert, otherwise it's dessert, but who doesn't like both? Underneath intro, we're going to go ahead and say something like a fun short trip in the sun. You could probably be a little bit more creative than I am there. All right, so you can also change the signature details if you want to. Say you want to change the look of your signature. You can go ahead and change the font here. You can change the cover photo if you want that to differ from the trip photo. On smart proposals, you can change the deposit and total price if you'd like those to be displayed. So in this case, I'll say $450 is the deposit. The total price we're looking at about $1,200. And again, that's just if you have those prices to display. Confirmation page is going to be the thank you message that appears when your client approves the proposal. Again, completely customizable underneath your confirmations tab. And your confirmation email, that's going to be the email template that you select to go out to your client as soon as they approve this proposal, if you'd like it to. So now that we have our settings all ready to go, I'm going to give you a little tour of this left-hand side. So we've seen the proposal title card already, but this box down here is very important because it's going to save you a ton of time. This is our magic importer tool. So what you can do with this tool is you can drag and drop or select from your computer itineraries or invoices for flights, hotels, cruises, and activities. And our database is going to go ahead and pull all that information and make it into a proposal for you. So it's a very, very cool feature that's going to save you a ton of time. So if you do have those itineraries or invoices from your supplier, you can put them to good use and generate a smart proposal for your client pretty easily. Up here we have our sections. Sections are going to be used to break up the proposal, whether that's by date or by category. You can really get creative here. Items, those are going to be categories that you can add to your proposal, such as activities, cruises, flights, lodging. I'd be amiss if I didn't tell you that we have 2 really cool search features within these activities. For lodging and cruises, you can now search for both cruises and hotels to bring in details like photos, descriptions. Everything's already kind of done for you, so I highly recommend checking out those 2 features. I'm going to post some links in the chat for both of those in case you're interested in learning a little bit more. All right. And last here we have our bookable items. So you can book activities, hotels, and transfers through TravelJoy just by selecting this beautiful magic green button. It's going to take you to our bookable items page, which will allow you to search based on your client's destination and add items to the proposal that they can either book themselves directly through the proposal and earn you commission, or you can just display them and book them on behalf of your client. Completely up to you. We also have our library feature, and I'll be talking about that in just a little bit. So let me go ahead and build out a smart proposal. I'm going to be using our method of adding sections and adding items. I'm going to add 3 sections to get started. So 1, 2, 3. So just click it 3 times, 3 sections. Over here at the right-hand side is where we can edit. I'm going to add a date. So this will be the 21st. You can go ahead and not add a date if you don't want to, completely up to you. You can add a section name if you want to, completely up to you. I'm going to add both here. And I do want to point out this nifty tool, which is our options tool. This is going to allow you to list different options, say, for example, hotels that you need your client to choose from if they're interested in one or the other, or 1 out of 4. You can go ahead and turn this toggle on, and anything you put under this section will count as a choice towards that section. So your clients can only choose one thing within that section, so you can display all of those and you can understand exactly what your client would like to proceed with. Very cool feature. And again, I do have a guide for that, so I'll be sharing that within the chat. All right. So I'm going to very quickly turn off that option, and I'm going to build out the rest of these sections just with, again, those dates of travel. We'll say this is our fun day on Saturday. And our last section, this will be the 23rd. This will be our departure. All right, so all of our sections are built out here. I'm going to go ahead and add an item. And while I can use that add item button that we saw previously, I'm going to add it using this little plus sign over here. This is another way of adding items, but it's going to add it directly to the section instead. When I click on this, I'll get to choose any of these items. They're each going to have different fields that kind of correlate with that particular item. I'm going to select activity for this example because I'm sending Jane to the farmer's market in downtown Palm Springs. We can say our location name, downtown Palm Springs. And again, we won't be filling out the entirety of this just for the sake of time, but this gives you an idea of what information you can include within your activities. Now, underneath the item description, again, you can have a little bit of fun with this, provide a description of what the client can expect. We'll say fun shopping with local artists and vendors. You can never spell when you're being watched by people. I stand by this. As soon as you start typing on a live webinar, you can never spell. So once you have your description in here, you can even add something fun like a video. So if you place your cursor where you want that video to go, you can head down to this link down here, the add YouTube video to description, and a new field is going to open up. So you'll need to go to YouTube, find the video of your choice, and copy that URL for that video. And once you have that URL, like I've already done previously, you'll place that URL in this field and choose to add the video. And there we have it. So now this video is going to be displayed and shown on my Smart Proposal activity. If we scroll down further, we have our photo section. So we do recommend 3 or more photos for the best look. I happen to have these photos on my computer already, and you won't see the selection part of it, so I apologize for that. But hang tight while I go ahead and get those photos uploaded. Again, these are coming from my own computer that I've saved. There we go. So those images are loading now. And if we have anything like tickets to enter the activity, or say you have train tickets or something like that that you want to provide to your client, you can actually drag and drop them or add them from your computer here, and your client will be able to access those documents right from the Smart Proposal or Itinerary. All right, so let's say I send my clients to the Palm Springs Farmers Market a lot, and I don't want to have to recreate this activity every single time I send someone to Palm Springs. That would be really not fun. What I can do is I can save this activity to my library, which is then accessible on any itinerary or smart proposal within my account. You can add something to your library by heading to the top of that activity or item and using the Add to Library link at the top right-hand corner of the screen. You'll get this nice little success banner down here at the bottom left. And then if we open up our library, which will see items that I've already pre-added to my library, we should, I believe I have to refresh the page in order to see that. Let's open that back up again. There we go. Our farmer's market is right here at the top. So we'll be able to now use this farmer's market item across our account when creating itineraries or smart proposals, just by using that library button, which is pretty cool. You can also access and edit any of your library items from your library templates tab, which is a very new feature and a very exciting one at that, because you no longer have to just go into a smart proposal or an itinerary to edit these items. You can go ahead and do it right from that library tab. All right, now using the rest of these items that I've already created, I'm just going to quickly build out the rest of Jane's smart proposal. So I'm going to just drag and drop them where I want them to go. I'm going to send her on a golf day for the second half of Saturday. I'm going to add her car to the airport just to the bottom here. And she's going to go to dinner on Friday night. We've got reservations, but I'm also going to put her hotel on her Friday night as well, so she knows where she's staying. And just like that, using the library, I've already built out an entire smart proposal. Yours is probably going to be a little bit longer and a little more detailed, but this gives you an idea of what you can accomplish. You can always preview this up at the top right, but I'm going to share this proposal with Jane so you can see the finished product. I'm going to use the Share Proposal button at the top right-hand corner of the screen and select Send. And as with our form, I'm going to be able to customize really what this email is going to entail. Again, I can choose a different email template if I need to, and add attachments in the bottom left as well. Yay for golf. I'm really happy I just looked over there. Once we are happy with our email, we can go ahead and select Send. Thank you for your enthusiasm, Marvin. We've got that sent, and we know that was successful because we're taken right back to our trip message feed where we see the link to our proposal. And we're going to see what that looks like on Jane's end. So if we open up the email that she received for her proposal, she's going to be prompted to view the trip proposal. And this is what it'll look like. First of all, that picture, mwah, chef's kiss, looks so great here. We've got our title card here. The deposit and total price is showing. If we keep scrolling down on the left-hand side, this overview actually is all linkable. So you are going to be able to click on this and go to that specific part of the itinerary, which is pretty cool. We can scroll through the itinerary as well and just see all of the items. There's our farmer's markets, golf day, yay for golf, car to the airport. Now at the top right-hand corner of the screen, Jane is going to be able to take this smart proposal with her on the go, even when it's become an itinerary, using our Itineraries by TravelJoy app. So your clients can download this app and again, take it with them on the go. They can share this proposal, download the proposal, ask you a question, which is just going to take them to their trip message feed with you so that they can converse with you if needed. And then approve the proposal if everything looks good. So let's say Jane has looked over this whole thing and she goes, yep, book it. We're going to use the approve proposal button so that she can say that. And then she gets that thank you message. Again, completely customizable. And if we refresh our page in any way, not only are you going to get an email notification, but you're also going to see these congratulatory blue banners letting you know that Jane has approved her smart proposal. And it has now been turned into an itinerary because it's been approved. So the itinerary is going to be over here on the right-hand side. If you need to quickly edit it, you can click on that edit button and it'll take you right to the editing screen, or you can access it underneath the Trip Files tab for editing as well. So that is the entire process of creating a smart proposal, having it approved, and it turning into an itinerary. Is everyone still with me? Everyone still awake? I'm afraid there's no more golf moving forward, but I'll try to work it in if I can. Let's go ahead and move into our next section, which is going to be our groups and group booking pages. And I just want to do a huge shout out to both Heather and Cody for answering questions in the questions tab. Thank you so much. And thank you for bringing wonderful questions. We really appreciate it. All right. I'm getting told we are here, so let's move forward with the groups. Now, remember when I told you to think of a trip as a file folder? I want you to think of a group as a filing cabinet. So if you have multiple trips going to the same place, such as a wedding or a family reunion or a cruise, you likely have a group on your hands. So this is the easiest way to stay organized and keep everything in one place. So to create a group, it's very similar to creating a trip. We're going to head up to that pink Create button at the top left and select Group from the options that appear. It's the very last one. Now, in most cases, you know where your group is going, so we'll fill out a few more details here. I'm going to choose a photo. We're going to search for Paris, France, because that's where this group is going. There's some beautiful options. Oh, we've got a lot of Eiffel Towers, the Louvre. Let's go ahead and go, oh, I like that one. Let's do this one. Perfect. And then we can name the group. We'll say Summer in Paris, 2025. Our starting date, let's go ahead and put us at June. It'll be here before you know it. 23rd through the 27th. Destination, Paris, France. All right, we're going to create this group using that blue Create Group button. And the group is created. However, there's no trips in it yet. This is an empty filing cabinet. So how do we add trips in here? Well, there's a couple of ways of doing that. The first way is to manually add a trip. And you can do so by heading to this plus sign just to the right of the All Travelers tab. And then we're going to head into selecting our traveler. So again, if they're from your contact list, you can select them here, or you can create a new traveler and add them to your contact list here. I'm going to send Jane on this trip too. She's going to have a very busy 2025. And that's all I need to do. I'll use the blue Create Trip button. And you're going to notice there's now a drop-down menu here. This drop-down menu is going to allow me to navigate to all of the trips within this particular group. So again, remember I told you it was going to make things a lot easier. It really does. Now from here, we're probably going to need to send a form to Jane to collect details. We're going to need to create an invoice for her, probably a proposal as well, or an itinerary. But what if I told you, especially for those groups where you have more than 2 people joining, that there is a much easier way of managing your groups and getting everyone booked. And it takes a lot of manual labor off of your plate. A group booking page. Now, group booking pages are standalone web pages that you can create and share the URL with your clients. That'll have a description of the trip. It's going to have packages they can book. They can select which packages they want to book. They can add on extra options if you're offering them. They can fill out a form before they complete their booking, and they can pay their deposit or the full total of the trip right there, right then. It's going to generate all of that into its own trip automatically and place it within the group for you once they've completed their payment. That's a ton of work that's no longer on your plate. So let's go ahead and talk about how we create a group booking page and get that set up. Now, in order to do that, we're going to head to our All Travelers tab. Just because we get a few different options when we use the blue Create button in the All Travelers tab. If we navigate over to that blue Create button, we're going to see a few different options here. We're going to be selecting group booking page supplier today. Now, what is the difference between direct and supplier if you're looking at my screen? Well, supplier refers to a credit card authorization. So when you see that supplier in parentheses, just know that we are only collecting a credit card authorization that you can then use to pay your supplier and then mark the invoice as paid for your client. We're not collecting any money through TravelJoy. We are just collecting those credit card details. We'll talk a little bit more about direct payments at the end of today's webinar. I'm going to select that group booking page supplier to get started on the building process. We have 3 tabs to the group booking page: our description tab, our pricing tab, and our traveler info tab. We're going to start by giving our group booking page a name. So let's say, let's go to Paris 2025, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, so they know it's fun. There is a template down here. You are completely welcome to use it or get rid of it. Totally up to you. We're not going to be filling out the description page again in its entirety. I wish we were, but we just don't have enough time. But I can show you a few tricks, one of which is adding a photo to your group booking page. So if you need to add some photos to get everyone excited, place your cursor where you want that photo to go. Then navigate to the font toolbar. You're looking for the mountains and the sun or moon, depending on how you see it. We're going to go to the upload tab, and I'm going to select a photo from my computer. So again, hang tight while I do so. I believe this is the one I wanted. Once I have that photo uploaded from my computer, I'll use the blue save button, and there it is. I can resize it if I want to using the little blue squares, just dragging and dropping it to my heart's content. If you want to add something like a video, you can add Vimeo or YouTube videos. Again, place your cursor where you want that video to go and head to the play button just to the right of that photo icon. Now you're going to have to go and find that URL for the video that you're interested in. And I happen to have mine ready to go. I'm going to place that URL in the source box, then select save, and there's my video. So this will display to anyone that visits the group booking page. Again, I wish we could fill out the remainder of this, but we are on a tight schedule today, so we're going to keep moving on. But once you have the details of your trip mapped out, you're just going to give them an idea of what their trip is going to be, add any photos, get them excited, and we'll move on to the pricing tab, which is going to allow us to build out those packages and extra options. So on the pricing tab, tab number 2, our very first question is traveler limits. Now you may be following along at home and saying, Caitlin, this only goes up to 10. I have a lot more people in my group than 10. Please do not worry. The traveler limits only refers to the amount of people that can book a single room or cabin. There's no limit to how many people can book your group, but we typically don't see more than 10 people in a single room or cabin. So I'm going to leave this at 4 for now. Booking options, we have 3 here at TravelJoy. The very first one is travelers share the same date, so everyone will be arriving on the same date and departing on the same date. The second option is travelers can book between 2 dates. This is going to be great for things like weddings or family reunions where you have one party coming in on Thursday and leaving on Sunday, where another party might be coming in on Friday and leaving on Monday. You can select your date range, select the minimum night stay and the maximum night stay, and your clients will be able to book between those options. The third option we offer is going to be travelers can book specific dates I set. So if you have multiple date ranges to offer of this group, you can go ahead and select them using this tool. All right, now packages. Again, these are going to be your rooms or cabins. You can add a package by using the Add Package button. And a pop-up will appear that will let you build out the package. So let's go ahead and say this is our Queen Suite. Pro tip, you can copy and paste images into this description if you need to. We'll say city views, close to cafes, perfect balcony for book reading, because that's really important for me. So we've got our description in. We can even keep track of the quantity of these packages. So if we've agreed upon a certain amount with our supplier, we go ahead and use this quantity limited checkbox to indicate how many of these packages we have to sell, so that way you don't oversell the packages. Are available until date. That's how long your clients will have to book. So we'll say since we're leaving in June, they have until April 1st. We'll just go with April Fool's Day. I was trying to avoid it, but it was calling my name. We're going to go ahead and use our price to indicate the price per person. We have up to quadruple occupancy rate. So if we want to say one person is $1,200, we'll add another occupancy rate just using that add occupancy rate link. We'll say $1,100 for double occupancy and $1,000 for triple occupancy, and so on and so forth. So again, you have up to quadruple occupancy. You can even add a child rate if needed. And the deposit can be per person or per room using this drop-down menu here. A deposit is required in order to use your group booking page. So we'll place that deposit. And our final payment due date is going to allow us to generate an invoice for you. So it has to fall after our April 1st available until date. And let's say May 1st is the final payment due date. Once we've built all of this out, we're going to hit that blue save button in the right corner. And there's our package. I do want to remind you, if you are asking questions in the chat box, we won't be able to answer them there. There is a questions tab just below that chat box, and I want to make sure you get answers, so please be sure you submit them there. We have 2 other Joy Makers who are answering questions there, so be sure that you get your questions in. All right, so we have our Queen Suite here. We can add multiple packages for our clients to choose from. I'm just going to be adding one today. If we move down to our extra options, we'll be able to add things like excursions in here. So let's go ahead and use that Add Item button to write out our excursion name. So we'll say City Walking Tour. Again, you can copy and paste images in here if you need to. Copy and paste a description. I'm going to keep mine short and sweet and just say, try to keep up. It's going to be a fast walking tour. The price for this excursion is going to be $75. If you'd like to add a deposit, you can, just to save the spots. We'll say 25. Our quantity limited. This is going to keep track of that inventory once more. And our available until date, let's go ahead and say April 1st, just like our packages. Doesn't have to be that way. That's just what I'm going with. I'll use the blue save button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And there's my extra option. And again, you can add as many of these as you'd like to, multiple extra options for your clients to add on as they're going through the booking process. Down here at the bottom is our payment details. This lets us know that our payment method is supplier. We do have the option to offer a monthly payment schedule if needed. The confirmation page is going to be the thank you message that appears when your client completes their booking. Terms and conditions are what they're going to agree to, throwing it back to the very beginning of the webinar. You want to make sure those are updated so your client is agreeing to the correct terms and conditions. And then with all group booking pages and invoices, you can offer Faye travel insurance. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about Faye, I'm going to post our guide about it in the chat for you to check out. All right, so scrolling back up, we're going to head to the third tab here, the Traveler Info tab. This is where we're going to be able to select the forms we'd like our clients to fill out. So the very first form we select is for the primary traveler. So if you have a primary traveler that's indicating that they're traveling with more than one person, they'll be prompted to fill out a form for each of those people. And you can choose to have different forms for additional travelers if you need to, or you can leave them both the same, completely up to you. I'm going to leave them both the same today. And we won't talk about task list today. That is a more advanced feature. But if you are interested in learning a little bit more, I'm going to be showing you our Help Center and how to search our Help Center in just a bit. So we'll use that as an example. We're going to use the blue Publish button. And now that we've published our group booking page, we can share this unique link with our clients so that they can access it and complete their bookings. So I'll show you what that entire process looks like. So this is our group booking page. We've got our photo that we added, our video that we added. If we had any other details from that description tab, they'd be showing here. Our clients are going to be able to view the available packages. Again, we only have one of each of the available packages and extra options, but you can have multiples here. And they'll be able to view the extra options. They just won't be able to add them on quite yet. Once you select the Book Now button, your client will be taken to the next page where they'll be able to indicate the number of travelers that they have. I want you to pay attention to this right-hand side because as we change those travelers, that occupancy rate is going to automatically update the pricing over here. So if we go to 2, it updates accordingly. If we go to 3, you see. All right, I'm going to leave that one just so I don't have to fill out 3 forms today. I'm going to go ahead and select this Queen Suite. It's already selected, but again, your clients could choose between other packages. They would see those here as well. And if they wanted to determine what pricing works best for them, they have that opportunity. And then they can add on extra options using the checkbox to the left. They'll continue to traveler info. And this is the final portion. Oh, I apologize. We're 1 page away from the final portion. They're going to fill out their form. So I'm going to send myself on this trip because it sounds pretty fun. You're like, Caitlin, you do this webinar every week. I know. It's crazy. I still forget where I am. Let's go ahead and do gmail.com. All right. And then again, you can make your forms customized to make these questions required. We're just going to go ahead and only do the required questions for now. We'll continue to payment in the bottom right. And then we're going to be able to authorize our deposit or authorize the full amount. We get to choose here. Then your client will add a credit card. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most exciting part of the webinar where you get to watch me put in a fake credit card. It's hard to believe it's fake. I know. It's such a real looking number, but I promise it is. We'll go ahead and do security code. We're almost there, folks. Hang tight. Don't fall asleep yet. I promise. We're getting there. Main. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once your client has put in their credit card, they'll save those credit card details. And then they will sign and agree to your terms and conditions by either typing their name out, or if they're feeling brave, they can draw it. I'm going to go ahead and type mine. Pardon me. I'll use the blue sign button. in the bottom right. And then we're going to authorize that amount and book. So this is the last step. I promise. I'm not lying this time. Once we go ahead and authorize and book, we get a thank you message. That is that confirmation message that is completely customizable underneath your confirmations templates. And if we head back to our TravelJoy account and refresh the page in any way, you're going to notice it's not a magic trick. It's just TravelJoy. If you use this drop-down menu, my name has appeared here all by itself. If you click into it, a trip has been created. It's going to include a message that has my form that I've already completed and submitted, the invoice that was generated when I submitted my booking, the signed authorization, and a link to the payment info. So now I can just click here, access those credit card details using the Show Credit Card button, and then I can pay my supplier. Easy as that. That is so much work that you no longer have to do, and I hope it's helpful for you. Alrighty. Just want to point out, you can also find those details underneath the trip files tab. You've got links to the forms and the invoice here. Don't want you to not hear that tip. Perfect. All right, folks. We have gotten through creating our first trip, creating our first group and group booking page, and now we're moving on to payments. Again, a big thank you to Heather and Cody for answering questions in the questions tab. Everyone feeling good? We're getting there. We're getting through it. We're almost there. You're in the home stretch, and hopefully you're learning a lot. So let's head into this payments portion. We're going to head back to Jane's awesome trip here. And because Jane didn't book through a group booking page, we need to manually create these invoices for her. So we're going to do so by heading over to the blue Create button. Now, again, we have two options here, Invoice Supplier and Invoice Direct. So again, supplier in parentheses means we are collecting a credit card authorization, whereas direct means we are charging that client's credit card right there in the moment, and it's going to be funneled through into what we call trip funds. You'll notice there's this little tab here. Trip funds can be thought of as a mini bank account associated to your trip or group, where all the funds from that trip or group are going to gather, and you're going to be able to use those funds to pay your supplier via a virtual credit card, a wire, or you can withdraw your markup to your bank account. A lot of options there. I'm going to be taking you through creating a supplier invoice first, since we just saw something a little similar. And then I'm going to take you through a direct invoice and how to get your direct payment settings set up if you haven't already. So selecting invoice supplier from this list, it's going to open up our invoice builder. We have three main sections to our invoice. We have our line items here at the top, our payment schedule in the middle, and our settings section at the bottom. Now at the top, we can go ahead and add our line items. You can add as many line items as you want. You can combine costs if you want to. We're going to go ahead and say something like hotel. We'll say $450 and save it in place. So all you have to do to edit that item again is click back into it. If you click out of it, it's going to save it in place. You can add a description if you'd like to here as well. And then let's add another item just for fun. And we can say something like air. We'll say 600 here. And so on and so forth. So once we have our line items in place, you also have the option of showing these as a package. So if you don't want the individual pricing to show, you can use this show as package checkbox. And it's going to hide the individual pricing, still show the items, but only show an overall price. So that's a pretty cool tool to know about. Once we have our line items in place, we can move down to our payment schedule. We have two main items here. We've got our pay in full. So this is pretty straightforward. If your client is going to be paying on one date, you can select the due date here. Or we have our deposit and final payment. So you can indicate how much is going to be the deposit, when the deposit is due, and when the final payment is due. But we understand there's a lot of different custom plans out there and a lot of different ways that your payment schedule can go. So you'll notice there's also a blue edit button just to the right of each of these options, and that's going to open up the payment schedule further. So from here, you can customize the payment schedule a lot more. Say you have like a custom payment plan that you've agreed upon with your client. You can break up payments by adding payments to the left here and changing the amount, the description, and the due dates. You can even delete payments if needed. But the one big thing I want you to be aware of is this down here is keeping track of if these payments match what you have in your line item. So you want to make sure they match up. So if we say something like 150 here and click out of it, it's going to go, hey, wait a second. That doesn't match with this number up here. So we can go ahead and remedy that just by making sure that these two things match. I'm going to give this a different due date as well. Let's say this one comes a little bit later. And, oh, that didn't work. Let's do 900. There we go. I told you, anytime you have an audience. All right, so now we are all matched up with our line items. We can go ahead and move down to our settings, but that would be how you would customize a payment schedule a little bit further. Underneath the settings section gives you a few ideas and details about your invoice. So we have the payment method as supplier, again, meaning we are only collecting a credit card authorization. On supplier invoices only, you can change the currency of this invoice. You can give your invoice a name. You can choose the client you'd like this invoice associated to. So if you have multiple clients traveling within the same trip and they want to have separate invoices for their payments, you can select which client on the trip you would like this invoice to be associated with. Choose the confirmation page, choose the confirmation email, and your terms and conditions, as well as offer FAY travel insurance. So once you have all of those settings updated, your payment schedule is where you want it to be, and your line items look good, you can go ahead and send this off to your client using the blue Next button at the top right-hand corner of the screen to select Save and Review Email, which again is going to pop up that email that we can then further customize to send to our client. We can choose a different email template at the bottom, customize the email body, and add attachments in the bottom left. Once we're happy with it, we can send it off. And again, we know we were successful because we're taken right back to our trip message feed where we see that message. Now, if we open up our email for Jane and refresh the page, she should have received it. She's going to be prompted to open her invoice. And she's going to be able to scroll on down and see those line items here, the amount that's due today. If she's made payments previously, you'd see those payments here. The credit card authorization portion is going to be here in the middle, and then her payment schedule is going to be at the bottom. So she'll always have an idea of when she needs to pay next. She'll be able to see that all laid out for her. She can select what she would like to authorize as far as amount. I'm going to go with today's due amount of 900. Now, if your client is returning to their invoice from the same device that they've created a authorization on before, they may get lucky and see that they have their credit card details stored in here. They can just select this button and put in their CVC code. So we can say 123. Or they can add a new credit card down here at the bottom. They're then going to sign and agree to your terms and conditions. I'm going to draw this time just because I don't get to do it very often. And Heather and Cody are in the audience. They usually give me a score out of 10, how good this signature is. I do think it's better than a DMV. I'm going to do a little heart just for a little bit of showmanship there. And Cody, Heather, what would you rate that on a scale of 10? I would say that's some of my best work. Someone gave me a 15 out of 10 last time. I'm going to sign in 11.3 out of 10. Thank you, Heather. 20. Wow. Amazing. Now that we have our signature in place, we're going to authorize that payment using the authorized payment button. They're going to get that thank you message, again, completely customizable underneath your confirmations templates. And if we head back to our TravelJoy account and the page is refreshed in any way, you're going to get an email notification letting you know that a payment has been authorized. But you're also going to see this message, which is going to have a link to the invoice, the signed authorization, and that payment info. Now you're probably wondering what happens after I use that payment information to pay my supplier. Well, you can go ahead and return to the invoice either by clicking this link here or heading into the Trip Files tab and selecting that invoice. You can scroll down to the payment schedule and you'll see that that line is now a status of authorized. You also can use this little credit card to view the credit card details as well. But let's say you've paid your supplier with the credit card information. You just want to let your client know, hey, a charge has taken place and want that reflected on their invoice. You're going to navigate over to this little money bag underneath the actions column. And you're going to mark this payment as paid. You can choose to send your client a receipt if you'd like to. And once you mark as paid, it's going to update on the invoice. So if we scroll down, we see the status is paid here. So now your client has received a receipt letting them know that a charge has been completed on their card and you're all good to go. So that is the process of a supplier invoice. Clean up my tabs up here just a bit. Now, direct invoices, before we head back into Jane's trip, I just want to make sure if you are not seeing the option to create direct invoices or direct group booking pages, it's likely because your direct payment settings have not been completed. You can complete these by heading over to the Settings tab and navigating to Direct Payments. And as you can see, mine are enabled, but you can come to this tab and it'll walk you through the process of connecting your bank account to TravelJoy to enable those direct payments. Now, once you've got this status of enabled, you will be able to see those direct invoice options. We're going to head back to Jane's trip and head into that blue Create button to select Invoice Direct. Now you're going to get a little warning. Are you absolutely sure? Direct invoices do feature processing fees. So when we process your client's credit card, there are processing fees that apply. We're going to say, yes, I'm sure. And this is the same builder that we just saw. The only difference is the Settings tab down here. So I'm going to very quickly fill out these first two pieces. So we're going to just say hotel for this one. $450, we're just going to leave it at hotel. And since we went to the payment schedule already a little bit, I'm going to leave that payment schedule alone. Underneath settings, we see our payment method is direct, meaning that we are charging this client's credit card right there in the moment. We're funding to our trip funds balance, which is that mini bank account associated to that trip or group. We can give our invoice a name, and we can accept payments by credit card or bank transfer. It is important to know, credit card payments when using our trip funds feature are available instantly, so you can start using them to pay your supplier or start the process of withdrawing them to your bank account. Bank transfers from your client take about 5 to 10 business days to process entirely. So if you have a quickly approaching supplier due date, I highly recommend just changing this to credit card. You can choose if you want to offer both or one or the other, completely up to you. Now, convenience fees, you can go ahead and add your processing fees to the client's invoice by selecting this box here. That way you're always receiving the amount that you are expecting to from your client. You can allow for custom payments. If this is your planning fee, if this invoice was created for your planning fee and your planning fee only, you can go ahead and check this box. This will bypass the trip funds and send this to your bank account. Again, this only works for planning fees. You can choose the client you want this invoice associated with, choose the confirmation page, the confirmation email, and of course, your terms and conditions. You can also add paid travel insurance on direct invoices as well. And because we already saw the sending process to Jane, and because I don't have a credit card, unfortunately, that works for direct invoices. I'm just going to save this invoice for now using the blue next button. And it's going to take us right to the trip message feed. So if I need to see a published invoice and I'm inside my TravelJoy account, I can just find that invoice within the Trip Files tab, use the three-dot menu to the right, and use Get Invoice Link. So this is what that published direct invoice link looks like. We've got our photo up here at the top, some trip details, our line items, and the payment section looks a lot different. So we've got this big blue banner that says make a payment. Your client will put in their credit card information or their bank transfer information. They'll agree to your terms and conditions by paying this amount, and then they'll be able to see their payment schedule down here at the bottom. Now, because I have those convenience fees added, your client will be able to see the convenience fee listed here as well. Once that payment has been made, it's going to be deposited into that trip funds balance, which can be found in the trip funds tab. You'll be able to see how much you have available in your funds. You'll be able to see a ledger of funds going in and out of the funds balance. These buttons will illuminate to allow you to pay your supplier via a virtual credit card generated on TravelJoy, or wire your supplier, or you can withdraw your markup directly to your bank account. So you've got a lot of options there. Now, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about funds, I'll go ahead and share a guide in the chat. All right, folks, we did it. We made it through our payment section. We've gone through creating a trip, creating a group and group booking page, and our invoices. We've gotten through the tough stuff. Now let's go over the resources we've created to help you use TravelJoy, as well as that promo code. Don't worry, I have not forgotten. So to get to our help center on TravelJoy, just navigate to this Help tab over here on the left-hand side. This is going to take you to our Help Center. Now, as you can see, we've created a lot of guides to walk you through a lot of the features on TravelJoy. So this is always available to you. We've got several categories here that you can browse through, and literally hundreds of guides that will help you get started. You can also search for keywords if you need to. So in this case, we'll go ahead and look for task lists. and it's going to go ahead and try to match you with the appropriate guides. Up here at the top of the screen, we've got a few different options. The My Request tab, this is going to be where you're able to view any support requests that you have sent into the TravelJoy team previously. So if you reached out to us, say, a couple weeks ago and you never got a response, if you check the My Request tab, you'll be able to see if we replied to that ticket. And maybe that response went to your spam folder or your junk folder, or maybe you just want to look at an answer that we provided you last year. Maybe you're running into the same issue and you wanted to remember how to solve that. You have the My Request tab at your disposal to do so. The Community tab is a forum, so if you'd like to converse with other advisors using TravelJoy or the Joy Makers, we hang out in there too. You're welcome to. Submit a request. This is how you'd be able to submit a support request. This is going to take you to the few options that we have. And I believe that's it for this main page here. Let's go ahead and head back to your dashboard because I want to show you how to get in touch with the Joy Maker team, which is our TravelJoy customer success team. So down here at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see this little chat bubble. We do offer live chat Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern on most days. Now, there are some exceptions if we're traveling all together as a team, or maybe we're all in the same meeting. We won't be able to offer it then, but for the most part, we are usually available live. So you'll just click on our little chat bubble there. Our friendly TJ bot is going to try to assist you as best as he can. And a pro tip for this process, please write out your entire question here. TJ is going to try to find an answer for you, and if not, he'll give you the option to submit a support request. But it makes it go by so much faster. If you have that question all written out, we will be able to view that as soon as we get your request and be able to get you an answer much quicker. So highly recommend putting in the entire question and then attach any screenshots, anything that you think would be important for us to know. You're welcome to go ahead and use this attachment feature. If you need to reach out to us by email directly, our email is hello@traveljoy.com. I'll go ahead and share that within the chat. Another pro tip for this, if you are reaching out to us by email, please be sure you are reaching out from the email associated to your TravelJoy account. If not, we do have to verify ownership, which takes a little bit longer. And again, we are in the business of making sure you get an answer quickly. So again, reaching out to us at hello@traveljoy.com is best done from the email associated with your TravelJoy account. All right, and I would be amiss if I did not let you know about some exciting webinar opportunities. The first is office hours. We offer office hours every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. unless we are traveling together. Office hours is a Q&A, so Joy Maker is live on screen answering questions for you. If you'd like to attend our next office hours session, it is tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and post that in the chat as well. As a reminder, if you do have questions, please be sure to put them in the questions tab. We'll try to get those answered for you today. We also have our What's New at TravelJoy webinar that's coming up on Tuesday of next week. This is usually a huge webinar, so I highly recommend attending. We'll go through all of the features that we have released recently and show you how to use them. I'm posting that in the chat as well. Now let's head over to our promo code section. I promise you, I have not forgotten. I will take care of you in these next 2 minutes and get you that promo code. You're going to head over to the Settings tab on the left-hand side of your screen, and you're going to select Membership. Now, this promo code is good for 50% off the first 2 months of a monthly membership if you are a brand new member to TravelJoy. You'll be able to apply that promo code just by going up to the Enter Promo Code link up here at the top right, and you're going to write in TJ Rocks 2025. I'm going to go ahead and post that in the chat as well. If we select Save, it's going to apply that promo code to that monthly option. Then you can choose your plan and complete your payment. Now, a pro tip, I highly recommend doing these 2 months and then coming back to this membership tab. You'll have the opportunity to then upgrade to the annual, which is $300 a year and saves you an average of $60 over that time frame. So again, pro tip, sign up for those 2 months at half off, then head over back to the membership tab for the yearly deal. So perfect. All right. If you have purchased a TravelJoy membership in the last week and you went, Caitlin, I didn't know there was going to be a promo code, please help. That's okay. We've got you. Please reach out to the Joy Maker team. If you have signed up for a monthly membership and you're a brand new member of TravelJoy within the last week, reach out using the chat bot down here at the bottom or by reaching out at hello@traveljoy.com, and we'll assess the situation to see what we can do. All right, folks, 30 seconds to spare. We had some wonderful questions in the questions tab. Again, thank you to Heather and Cody for answering these questions. You guys are rock stars per usual. And thank you for bringing such amazing questions to our webinar today. You are always welcome to join us at TravelJoy 101 anytime. I'm here every Wednesday. You are also, again, welcome to join us for office hours and our What's New at TravelJoy webinar next Tuesday. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, evening, wherever you may be in the world. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us again using our chat button just at the bottom right-hand side of your TravelJoy dashboard or at hello@traveljoy.com. Take care.